So just some small news, obviously, with Liverpool. Just I see today that Rio looks like he's set for the right wing position. So that is now I guess, the Salah replacement that everybody's been talking about, everybody's been looking for. Obviously, we're going to take a little look at that. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel? Do you think Liverpool are being, I don't want to say cheapskates here, but do you think maybe they could have just dipped their hand into their pocket and potentially have signed someone, who's going to predominantly play on that side as opposed to playing Rio? How do you guys feel? Do you think it even really matters? Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to get straight into it. So yeah, man, as I said, you guys can obviously see here with the news and stuff, it looks like he's set for that role on the right-hand side. Listen, I know some people don't really like it. I understand why. We're not talking about a player that's predominantly played on that side. You're also replacing a player who obviously did predominantly play on that side and was absolutely phenomenal. So obviously I know you're replacing the most recent season of that said player, which wasn't that great from Salah, but ultimately you are trying to replace that side. And I think one thing we probably do have to remember is he's not anybody who was coming in on that side, I guess, unless it would have been like Elise or someone of that kind of ilk, right? I don't think anybody was supposed to be coming in to directly replace Mohamed Salah, and I think listen, I might have been guilty of that myself. And I think it's because I'm looking at players like Elise, and saying, if you can go and get him, that's almost like a direct, replacement in terms of the quality level. But obviously Liverpool couldn't really do that. They tried to get obviously Diamande in, that didn't really work. So signing someone like Barcola, for example, obviously he plays predominantly on that left-hand side, can play on the right-hand side, blah, blah, blah. I think Liverpool probably see this as more of a situation where we should have enough goals to replace Mohamed Salah, whether it be Isak, whether it be Barcola if he comes in, whether it be obviously Ekitike when he comes back from injury, whether it be Rio, Victor Munoz, like Florian Wirtz, Szoboszlai, like the team should have enough goals within them. Again, I'm just guessing. I'm just potentially throwing it out there as to probably the reason why they kind of look at it like that. They did mention, they didn't want to, block Rio's pathway. I remember that being, a kind of conversation a long while ago. I think it was, last year, where they were talking about, blocking his pathway by potentially signing players like Bradley Barcola. Now Liverpool are looking at players, like Bradley Barcola, and he's apparently their number one target. So it is interesting when you see it, and you obviously we've been watching how last season obviously went. Ultimately, we didn't really like the fact that Gakpo was kind of, would I say, quote unquote, stinking it up, for Liverpool last season. So we wanted Rio to play. You wanted to see what Rio can do. Surely it's better than what we're currently seeing, right? Did we put too much pressure on him? Is he even actually ready? He's very, very inexperienced. Even for players of his own age, he is somewhat inexperienced in terms of first team starts and stuff like that. So obviously, he's an exciting player. Obviously, he's got immense talent. So maybe it is one of those things where you just kind of got excited and ran with it and think, what, we can have our own, player who, is on fire, and, he's young and he's the next one up and all that kind of stuff. And that's absolutely fine. But, at a club like Liverpool, you do need to have that. You need to just have that kind of X factor. And at the moment, we don't know if, someone like Rio obviously has that at this current moment in time. He may grow into that type of player, but he's still very inexperienced. So if Liverpool can go out there to sign a player with the right kind of experience and the right kind of age, which is probably what they're trying to do with someone like an Ibrahim Mbaye, then it makes sense. But obviously now, if we do get in Mbaye and Rio are going to be kind of battling it out with each other, which is obviously kind of interesting. Like I was looking at, the stats of the two players. Now, obviously, as the report there obviously says, Liverpool want to put Rio on that right-hand side, not a problem. So if Liverpool are still looking at Ibrahim Mbaye, again, I don't know if they will 100% get him, but let's just say if they do, that's obviously another attacking option for Liverpool. When you've got someone like Mbaye, I do look at it and think, okay, they're close-ish, in age. He's obviously a tad bit more experienced. He's also a Senegalese international. So he has got that, obviously on his side. He's been a part of a successful team for the last couple of seasons, making his way through. And then And I guess when you're in a team like this, where one, the manager rotates, Luis Enrique likes to rotate quite a lot, whether it be in League R or in the Champions League, or saving the players for one of the games of whichever kind of competition and stuff like that. Players like this, they do end up playing quite a lot of games. So you'll see here, like you can see, look, last season. Now obviously I know these are going to be subs and stuff like that, but 24 games, 19 games, obviously for Rio. Probably we would have hoped he would have easily have matched that 24 games, but it is what it is. And I just wanted to take a look at the two players because I'm just intrigued, because again, we're not talking about signing another Barcola, but even just in terms of his age, which is like what, 23, 24, kind of thing, which is still relatively young, but a lot older than Rio's age. We're signing someone who's near enough the same kind of age, potentially. Again, I don't know if Liverpool actually go through with this. So that's why I am looking at that and thinking, will Liverpool really go out there and sign an Ibrahim Mbaye? Does it make sense to sign an Ibrahim Mbaye? Or is it just makes more sense to just kind of keep it Rio, have your Victor Munoz there, and if you get in Bradley Barcola, you got Bradley Barcola. I guess you're going to end up, keeping Gakpo. Is it because you want to let go of Gakpo? Loads of questions. But here are the two players anyway. So obviously, Ngumoha on the left and Mbaye on the right. I haven't actually seen this, to be fair. So obviously, we'll be getting a kind of close-up look. Again, just little bits. Shot accuracy, and Mbaye's got that. Goals, Rio's got that. Goals from inside the box, Rio's got that. Goals from outside the box. Open play passes completed, Rio's got 27.2 to 44.1. Chances created, Rio creates 2.7. Again, quite a bit more than Mbaye. Passes attempted and completed, Mbaye has that. Accuracy, crosses attempted, Rio's attempting 3.5 crosses per 90 minutes in comparison to, Ibrahim Mbaye. So it could be it could be really, really close in terms of the two players, takeovers, take-ons. Okay, cool. They're both 4-4. Take-ons completed. I mean, 4.8 per 90, 1.9. Now, obviously, I look at both players kind of similarly anyway. Like, I do think they're both players who are more ball to feet type of players, as opposed to Barcola, who I feel is someone who wants to run in behind. He has got brilliant dribbling ability, but he wants to run in behind, or even beyond the centre forward, whoever that might be at the time, and he can move into different zones and different areas of the pitch. Whereas I look at someone like Rio, I look at someone like Mbaye, they like that ball to feet because they want to dribble. That's how they progress play, or that's how they would prefer, would I say, to progress the play. So it is quite interesting, looking at the two ground jewels as well. Take on success. I mean, look at that 69 to 38% ground jewels. Rio just edges it. Ground jewels 1. Ball recoveries 3.8 to 3.2 in Mbaye's favor. Touches in opposition box 8.5. So again, I don't know what the sales are going to look like, right? I don't know what that is for Liverpool. Does that mean, obviously, with potentially Cody Gakpo leaving, is that one of the reasons why? Do you genuinely believe, that Rio can, play on that right hand, side? Obviously, this is his debut, for England. I think it was against New Zealand just before the World Cup. Got man of the match. He was easily, the best player on the pitch at the time. When you're looking at the stats and stuff like that, you can see, look, 41 touches. He only had one unsuccessful touch. 5 out of 4 is for his dribbling. So only once did he not do it. Possession lost only 8 times. Carrying this 22 carries, 5 progressive carries. He progresses the ball with his dribbling ability. And I think that's going to be a major reason as to why he could potentially do well on that side. Now, something that Ends obviously brought up the other day on his stream, when Rio is on that right hand side, you can see he's not all that comfortable. That I can say, or that I feel he is. He's not all that comfortable because he is still someone who wants to kind of come infield. I don't. Again, it might just develop with time. Now, obviously, Ibrahim Mbaye, who is, I would say, quite used to playing, on that right hand side predominantly. He has played on that left hand side. I think he may potentially just be a better fit in terms of the comfortability of that said position. So again, how many minutes is Rio going to get? Is he going to be happy? I'm not saying that he should be asking for more or for less. Ultimately, it's down to him and whatever he kind of feels. It's just interesting seeing that Liverpool almost kind of changed their tact in terms of, oh, Rio's going to get a lot more minutes. We don't really want to block his pathway, but then you sign potentially potentially looking to sign a player who can play in that, or who predominantly plays in that said position. Yes, I understand rotation. Yes, I understand all of that. It's just interesting. It's just interesting, just in terms of, you know, the way that, you know, that Liverpool potentially might be doing things. Again, I don't really know. I really don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see. But I'd love to hear you guys, your thoughts behind everything. How do you guys kind of see it, you know, in terms of Rio's pathway and everything like that? You know, is it still being blocked? You know, if Liverpool do go through with these 2 deals, do you still think he'll play a significant amount of time next season? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, peeps, and I'll catch you guys real soon.